up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost God creates the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rise. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the
Good morning, guys. How's it going? We got Coma, first commenter, as usual. How you doing, man? Sterling. How's it going, Sterling? Tamale. Smash a like, thank you. Noah, how you doing? The Deer One Trades, what's up, man? Welcome to the best BTC analysis in T live stream. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Okay, let's dive into the charts. Good morning, Ace. What's up? Wendy Wu, how you doing? Kuntube? What's up? Gotta be careful how you pronounce that. All right. Bitcoin finally got above the 50-day EMA again. We were anticipating for this to act as resistance because the fact that there's like $350 million worth of liquidity that was resting here in this area. And we got a bit of a pullback as a result. But after we got the bounce off of the VWAP, we continue our journey back up, giving us acceptance into a previous value area, I believe. Let me double check. No. Not quite. Or actually just below one, kind of above a previous one here, where we end up hitting as resistance before, anticipating for us to see it act as resistance again, grab the liquidity from these highs that were stacked from here. They weren't fully taken when we came up through here, and now we've seen that liquidity being used as buy side liquidity, pumping the market a little bit, but it's looking a little weak right now. We have formed like this, this traditional head and shoulders structure. We already broke the lows, and all we really need is the lower low to confirm it as resistance, and then we can see us come down. But we do have a couple barriers that would block us from hitting the measurable target. The measurable target would be, you get the support level here, you get your Get the head, pull it to the neckline where the support is. You click and you drag from the moment where you confirm as resistance. Then you get your technical target, which brings it down to this little demand zone here. We do have a little bit of demand support here that could hold us up. So you just got to be mindful of that. If you have an opposing change of character, a break of downtrending momentum, that would warn you that we are likely not going to hit that target. The target seems to be in line with the daily uptrending momentum and that previous value area high and the 50-day EMA. So if we break through this, it's going to be a decent confluence for a turnaround at 113,300. But yeah, just to repeat, 50-day EMA, previous value area high from this value area here, where we can see act as support. And we got local demand. So lots of reasons to bounce here. So if we break through this, this is where we're going to prepare for support next. But we could end up seeing this previous high here act as support. That's why we got to be mindful of it. We got some liquidity here from this order flow that we have uptrending our way up to here. We've already smashed our head down and lost the internal momentum. So this is where we watch first. If you end up taking any shorts, this is where you gotta be mindful of potential support. Otherwise, yeah, this is our next area where I'll be preparing for longs for sure right here. Lots of reasons to bounce here. If we zoom out so you can see where this daily momentum came from, let me just change the opacity really quick. It's tough for you guys to see. Sometimes I'll adjust the opacity of trend lines that aren't really that... they'll just get in your face and create too much noise sometimes. I don't want it to influence people to, not take action on trades if they see a trend line. Okay, so we zoom out and we find where this began. It began way back when Bitcoin was around 16,000, holding us up. So this is like the pace of the buyers for the full bull market. Now this would normally be like one of my warning indications to prepare for a bear market when we lose momentum like this, just like we did like last time and every other time before it, where we had this uptrending buyer's momentum. And we can see that we had like relatively unique behavior in the last cycle where we came down, found support at 30,000 and came back up again. But all the on-chain metrics were met during this period. And when we lost this momentum, like the on-chain metrics suggest that we are actually only about halfway through the bull market. So I would say like I'm getting a lot of messages lately about people concerned about the bull market ending, the cycle ending, and I think that is true if you go by like the older model that we're used to, where it's all based on a certain time factor. But on-chain wise, the behavior is very unique. I feel like the bull market's evolving and not ending. So right now, we're kind of on a journey towards the all-time high again, based on like the SFP that we just had occurred from that massive flash crash, because we basically had like a incredible SFP from that moment, and the technical target was this high. And like you can arguably say that the crash was predictable from the SFP that occurred from this high, because the technical target was this crazy low down here. So if we have this SF ping pong battle, it's going to create resets in the market. Like new investors coming in, old investors going out. And we could check the on-chain data, and I could show you what I mean by that. Because like, let me just pull this up. Oh, I got to log in again. It always boots me out. One sec here, guys. Log in here. How's your weekend, guys? While I log into this, what's the sentiment, short or long? Locally, it's looking bearish. Macro, it's looking like it's trying to flip bullish again. But yeah, right now it's looking weak. We have like this head and shoulders. It's a warning sign of like sellers taking over. Like what happens if you dissect a head and shoulders? We lose momentum. Right, we normally have like a bearish change of character occurrence, right? And then we come up to retest, normally like a golden pocket level. or we have an equal shoulder, normally parallel with each other, kind of showing you the momentum of the asset at the time. So yeah, things are flipping bearish, but this could be the backside of the potential range. This could be the high of the range. This could be the low of the range, and we could see Bitcoin consolidate here for a little bit, right? That's what I'm preparing for, is this potential retest and bounce through these highs. And prepare for a long, watch the local highs of the range. Look for any supply zones created within that range. Prepare your exit at the top of it in hopes that it continues up if you're in the active position still, right? But yeah, looking bearish actively right now, but preparing for longs. Because I was not awake at 2 o'clock in the morning to prepare for any of this move here. I think this was a good confirmation that we're going to come down. But yeah. All right, monthly looks. Still 4 days to go. Divergence printing. Yeah, monthly divergence is something that I don't normally take too seriously, especially on Bitcoin and how it behaves in its uptrend. It's pretty, yeah. So it's not something that I'm going to. It's something you can take note of, but not something I'll take action on. Okay. Unnamed Ghost Hunter, what's up, man? French Toaster, Mikey, what's up? Hype and Zcash. Yeah, we can take a peek at those too. Ondo Poncho, what's up? Good morning. Okay, I'm logged in now to Glassnode. Just gonna pull it up over here. Just want to show you guys the macro on-chain picture of what's going on in the background. So this is one of the most important tools you could use, the Nupal chart, to help yourself dictate when the market's getting extremely overheated or in a state of capitulation. If it's overheated, you prepare for selling. You use daily structure to dictate your exit, and then you got capitulation in the red zone down here when typically over 50% of holders are holding at a loss when we're at capitulation, and when we're up here, normally it's over 90% of holders are in a profit, which has been we've been a large amount of time that ever since we got to the previous all-time high at around 70K or 69K, we've had the market almost always be at 90% in the profit, and we've been ranging between 90 and 70% for a while because retail's been exiting and institutions has been entering. So we have these brief periods where 90 to 100% of people are in a profit, and then retail exits and institutions buy it back up. And yeah, but look at historically, we normally have these really fast rallies up. We don't cool down, we don't relax, we just go straight up to overheated because retail had a lot of control over the market. And this has been helping us every single cycle. And what it's telling us this time around, ever since January, let's zoom in on the chart here, year to date. So here we've been ranging between the 5.8 level, but the 0.6 to 5.8 level, and the 0.46 kind of level here. Whenever we dip down below the 0.5, it's when we start seeing people get anxiety and freak out a bit, and then institution buys it, and then we pump up, and then retail starts coming back in, and then they leave once we get to So we've been kind of ranging. Institutions have been taking over crypto slowly throughout this year, and they've been doing a really good job, because if you look at the addresses of people holding 100 Bitcoin or more, that's been growing, and you can see that the addresses that hold less than 10 Bitcoin have been downtrending. So retail's been getting their butt kicked, leaving, selling their Bitcoin to the institutional manipulation of the charts. But yeah, we're kind of back into that zone. I'm going to be watching this is not a level that I normally used to watch, but as we come up again to around like the 0.58 to 0.6 level, I'm going to be watching hawkishly when we get to that area to see if they're going to start adding massive sell walls again, because that's what the trend has been every single time we get to, I've go like 4 hour here. And I'm sorry about my daily and my 4 hour looking very messy. I do a lot of focus on the local price action while I only zoom out like when I need to. But yeah, if you look historically, let's go to 6 hour, like here, and like here, and like during this moment here, we've had like 2,000 to 5,000 Bitcoin sell walls pop up and suppress the price to go lower, and then we break certain key levels, and then retail leaves, and we start this downtrend, and this is here where we kind of like went on a downtrend as well. But yeah, lots of people exit the market during this period, those periods. You can look at these moments and combine it with on-chain analytics, and you can see clearly that it's retail that's the one that's leaving. But when retail comes back in, then we can start seeing the market get overheated. But I'm not sure what the catalyst will be for that. Maybe it be inflation, or like government doing something messed up. I know Canada's not looking great. I live here in Canada, so when there's some catalysts that cause Bitcoin to kind of skyrocket, sometimes that is like mistrust in the government. Sometimes inflation is usually the key factor. But all right, so yeah, right now I'm sitting on my hands waiting for a long opportunity, whether it be here, prefer it to be here. Be looking for like a 5-minute bullish change of character, maybe a sweep for an SFP off one of these two lows. We just had like a 5-minute SFP occur here, and I don't know if we'll hit the target, but the technical target is up here alongside this VWAP, so maybe we'll retest the VWAP, hit that SFP target, and then continue our downtrend down. But yeah, until then, I'm just looking for either the sweep or the bullish change of character reaction off of one of these two levels for a long. The long down here would be most likely give you better risk to reward ratio in comparison to this, because you'd be jumping right against some local barriers right away. What do we got in the chat? Is the Orange Man speaking today? Any speech lined up? Do we know? Not that we know of, but we got to keep your ears to the ground for any like trade deals with China that could cause a reversal in the sentiment and what's going on with them. That could cause like a bullish reaction in the markets for sure. Trump signs agent stuff with okay. Trump signs stuff with Asia right now. Okay. What about that big head and shoulder? Yeah, we went over the head and shoulders here. With a technical target of 113,500. This is our barrier to that target, and we have a pretty very high confidence for longs once we get to it. Okay. If you look at gold, sure, we can look at gold. We got a request to look at hype, Zcash, and gold, so we'll look at all three of those. Yeah, there's nothing more left to look at for Bitcoin right now. It's on its journey to try to hit a local SFP target. It's almost there. We have VWAP there, so we could hit our head in confluence with the current downtrending momentum. You can look at the order books and see if this trend line is being honored as resistance as well. I can take a peek at that for you right now, just to make sure, in case anyone's in that SFP trade. Oh, no, not really any seller confidence, but we have, oh man, it's flickering again. So we've been having a lot of NTIFs lately. Manipulation of the order books. NTIFs are basically orders that, it stands for like non-intentional to fill, where they kind of manipulate the order books. See? Yeah, just flop back and forth here. Some kind of algorithmic system messing around with the order books, because you're able to use these as like crystal balls to tell you when certain key areas are likely going to be respected. So I'm not sure if this is manipulation or if it's an API issue, but this has been going on for about a week, 2 weeks maybe. So it's not as reliable. It might be more helpful to use something like Bookmap, because if Bookmap, what it does is it shows you basically how long an order has been in, so you know like what to trust and what not to trust. Whereas with this, you kind of have to mark it on your own chart. It's like, okay, I've seen a buy wall here or a sell wall here at this time, and then when you go to check on it again, it's gone in like 10 minutes. Then you know like that buy or sell wall might not be something that you can rely on at that current price point. Pretty annoying. Okay, let's take a look at Ikoma. You took that SFP again. Closed a bit too fast. I hear you. Yeah, try your best to close. If you're going to close some early, do it near your 1 to 2 so that you don't hurt yourself long term. All right, hype. Let's look at hype first. And we are, 20 minutes in, looking at hype. Just to note that for later. Okay. So hype, last time we looked at it, we had this falling wedge right here. Let me just close this down. Oh, sorry, not falling wedge. The descending channel here, the technical target when they break is the same as a falling wedge. And we had that previous point control confluence too. So some people may have exited here. We could see that in reaction to the price action at the value area high that we had some people exit. And then we ended up using this local demand zone as support, and we rode up this uptrending momentum, or create this uptrending momentum ever since. And now we finally broke past the 50-day EMA for hype. That's good. So if we come down here, it's going to be very similar to the confluences that we're looking at with Bitcoin and its 50-day EMA. We have a demand zone right here, right? So this is back. And we can delete this. This has been mitigated. Okay, so we could test these previous highs. We can dip into the demand zone after losing this momentum. We could come as low as the 50-day EMA for a bounce. Be looking for that bullish change of character reaction, because you should have a lot of time for something like that. I don't think it'll be aggressive bounce. This is our active downtrending momentum that will be confirmed. Oh, it's already been confirmed when we lost. We got this break of structure here. It's our third test. So we break this low. We expect us to come down to here. We have a 15-minute order block, but I'm not really too concerned about it. We could mark this low here in case we SFP. But just be careful going against the trend. It may not hit its technical target. There we go. Right now, based on the 15-minute structure, if we got the SFP, the technical target would be this high. You want to look for, oh no, it'll be around here. Yeah, we had a proper pullback right here. So if we got the SFP sweep, it'd be this high here that we look at. That's based on the current structure. That could evolve and change to a lower level soon. All we need is 2 consecutive candle pullback, and then the sweep, and then you have your technical target. Okay. We could pull a fixed range volume profile here as well. To this demand zone, because it's been mitigated here, so you can include it in your pull. The reason why you would want to pull a fixed range here, even though it looks like we're about to leave it, is because when we come back, or if we come back and return to it, it could act as a form of resistance. So you got to watch that value area low as a potential key barrier along the way. But if you get acceptance into it with a break of structure, then that gives you a target extension to the value area high. And I think by the time we do come up here to retest this area, if we came down here, the VWAP would likely be flush around that area as well. So we'd have that VWAP break confluence. But that is hype locally. Let's zoom out a little bit on this thing. See if there's anything that we need to worry about. So right now we're hitting our head off of a mitigated 8-hour order block. You can see it here in these candles. Here's the doji. Here's the impulse bearish engulfing move, giving us this order block. We've mitigated about 90% of it, so I'd consider it completely gone. And we broke right through this 8-hour one. That's why, even though like I just see a lot of people just ape right into some order blocks, you gotta wait for the structural confluence too, right? Because like you can see here, we broke right through this one like it wasn't even there. And then we didn't start to slow down until we hit this one. So you gotta look for that structural confluence. So after getting into the order block, wait for that bearish change of character. And you'll be in a much better position. Or you at least reduce your chance of getting stopped out. This is where we had the change of character right here. We had that pullback, higher high, giving us a break of structure, generating a new strong low. We broke it here. You could have jumped in on that, stop loss above this high. You would still be in it. And I'd be targeting around here. Okay, so that's hype. That's what I'll be waiting for. Is that if I were to draw pathing for you on how I'd prepare, just looking for retest to the 50-day EMA. Maybe this high, we might not come down as deep as where I'm drawing it. Bullish change character, change, like break of momentum, and then right our way up. Based on the pace of the sellers, it's suggesting that we might get down here in the next 9 hours or so. Unless we plummet. But that's hype. I hope that helps you out. If you type !charts in the Discord, you'll get access to this chart. Okay, checking on Bitcoin. Yeah, still looks like it's bear flagging in the low time frames. Yeah. This here. This is the key level that would need to be broken for us to have that potential continuation. Okay. Bitcoin Cash, please. Yeah, we'll add that to our list, man. All right. Zcash was next. Let's pull up Zcash. CEC. Last time I looked at it was on, well, today. Oh, yeah, I took a peek at Zcash today. Seeing how it was doing. I don't remember what we spoke about last time with Zcash. It's not an asset that I normally trade. Last time I traded it was on like October 15th for a short. Way over here. Pretty damn easy short. You know, if you see price action get to a active or previous value area high, you wait for the structural confluence of a rejection, and then you target the value area low. And you can see it happened again here. Right? We struggled at this value area high. We built a head and shoulders. Lost momentum, hit the value area low, then came back up. And sometimes you'll kick yourself when you see it come down further, but stick to your trade plan. Just let the next one compound. But yeah, here we are. We definitely went way above this value area high. We didn't really see a proper retest to it and then run up that I would normally use as a trend-based rule, but we can see that we had like we hit our head off it here, pulled back 2 candles, got the higher high, got the break of structure, and then started running up, got the change of character, flipped bullish. But right now we kind of have this awkward kind of head and shoulders posture, right? Similar to Bitcoin. But we have a tweezer in between it that's just super ugly. If we look at lower time frames, it's like a V-shaped recovery. So you can see that there's this internal momentum right here. You can draw a trend line through, but it has been disrespected already. So just be cautious that if we come down to this area, we do have like an order block that was generated from that pump. And the VWAP, the previous day VWAP is right there too. So just be cautious that if we do continue to go down, if we break this, like this low here, this is where you prepare for a potential bounce. And we have a zone like right below it too, right here. It's an awkward order flow. See cash. Let me zoom out a bit on this thing and see if there's anything historical. I feel like this is some all-time high stuff. Yeah. Well, we should mark this high right here. And based on this chart, you know, Zcash is almost a price discovery. So we have this wick level here. Right now we're looking at on the daily, so we might get what's called a daily legacy SFP. And if we do get that, the technical target, this doesn't confirm for another 8 hours. But if we do get it, the technical target's way down here at $229 here. We have some demand zone confluence, wick level confluence there, previous point of control here. So if we come down, just be cautious of that. I know based on how it's drawn, like marked up here, it doesn't really match because the fixed range volume profile has kind of been scrambled lately from TradingView for the past 6 months when you rotate between timeframes. What's supposed to not happen is when you rotate between timeframes with the fixed range volume profile is the valley area data shouldn't adjust. It should be the same. But for the past 6 or 7 months, it's been adjusting with the time frames. The way I trust it is I'll look normally at like the hourly or like the 15-minute because it's more refined. You can see now that the horizontal rays are kind of connected to it properly now. The data is a lot more refined, so I trust it a lot more. But yeah, this head and shoulders could be the answer to confirming that daily legacy SFP off the all-time high sweep at 372.01. I know with this awkward engulfing response, the squeeze or bottom response, it's going to be tough to trust when to jump into a short. So try to front run it. Like if we get a sweep of these local highs, that could be a front run opportunity for an SFP, like low time frame SFP leading into like a higher time frame trade. Or if you see like a retest, to break a structure, jump in a low, use the high as your stop loss guard, and try to write it down in hopes that we breach right through this. And then the daily SFP becomes confirmed. And if we do come down, you do have to watch this previous value area as a potential barrier to that technical target, which is down here, right? So it's a bit of a finicky one. If you don't like fighting for your money, then don't take this trade, right? If you want something easy mode, then just look elsewhere. It doesn't have to be hard for you to like try to capture gains in trading. There's a lot of pictures being painted. They're all kind of pointing downwards. So it's just a matter of which one do you feel more comfortable trading. Can you show my fixed range volume profile settings? I sure can. Yeah. It's not a secret. I go over. So this is my layout. Your rows layout is number of rows. This represents these little candles right here. And the row size is the number of them. So it's usually 200. Some assets I'll do 250. It's not going to impact where the value area high is or the value area low is unless you have your row size way too low. 200 is great. And value area volume is 70. And what this does is this controls, this is what has a lot of control over where the value area high is and where the value area low is, because it's isolating the fixed range volume profile where 70% of the interest is what's considered the value area. So all this will become grayed out if it's not part of that 70%, right? And this here is all part of that 70%. And if you backtest all the different types, This is the only time where I feel comfortable with the default setting from TradingView, because like they normally kind of set you up for failure, whereas this is definitely needs to be adjusted. I hope that helps you out. I have a lot of strategies that depend on the fixed range volume profile, but eventually you start to visualize it, like you know what it looks like, where the POC is. Okay, so that's hype. I'm gonna save this. Make sure, yeah, it's saved. We went through hype. We went through Zcash. We went through Bitcoin. Next request was Plummy. I'm not sure about that one. I know I don't have a chart for that, so I'm not sure why I'm looking it up. And I don't think I've ever done TA on this thing. Just recently had a, looks like bearish divergence. Yeah, it's not marked on my chart, but it's definitely there. Triple top, kind of like head and shoulders kind of vibe. We broke this level here on the 15-minute, started to come down right into this like local demand, went right through it. Like it wasn't even there. Let's zoom out on this picture though, see what we have. It's downtrending momentum, the pace of the sellers here. We have two value areas stacked on top of each other. We're at the active point of control. Zoom out a little further. Oh, this thing's young. Okay. At least it is on this chart. It almost got deleted on the flash crash. Okay, so there's our macro downtrending momentum, the pace of the sellers in a larger, bigger picture. We finally created a 200-day EMA on this thing. It's another way of telling if an asset's young or not. Do you see a 200-day EMA? Do you see a 50-day EMA? Like it just got its 50-day here, just got its 200-day here. So at least we know it's more than 200 days old. Yeah, 278 days. We have been building this descending triangle structure after breaking down from the flash crash. Kind of had this descending double top here that printed from the downtrending momentum. And we're fighting against this previous level of support right now as resistance. So we need to see that kind of acceptance back up again. So we had this low time frame fixed range volume profile here, but you could also draw one here as well. This supply zone has been like fully mitigated from these wicks up, so you could actually include it in your fixed range volume profile pull from here to here, where we see it lose the value area. You don't want to include it when it's outside of the value area until we have acceptance back in, because it corrupts your data when you're trying to prepare for acceptance into a value area again. We can see that there's a lot of interest at this low as well. So when we come up there, just prepare to hit your head again. We might just hit the top where the liquidity starts to go cold on this downtrending momentum. You hit our head on the point of control and pull back, and then maybe finally get acceptance back inside of the value area from there. But once you do, you could see it potentially get that full rotation up to that value area high at 11 cents. So I'd mark all these levels. If you're trading this thing in a macro environment, let's go pull, Pierce value low. The value area, the point of control is right on top of that point of value area low. There we go, and Pierce value area high. So right now we have that deviation. It's about 25% deviation of the value area. 25 to 50% is kind of the sweet spot where you prepare for those reversals. If I pull up fib retracement from you pull from the value area high to the value area low, you get your equilibrium levels. You can see here, we're at that 25% level. So 25% here, great short. 50% here, great short. Right? These are usually the sweet spot. But when you jump in, you always have to anticipate the value area to potentially act as support or resistance, because that's what usually confirms a trend-based move where we move to a new value area or leave to create a new one in this case. Oh, if you want those settings too, I'll screenshot my screen here. You got to get your 0 level, your negative 2.5 level, your negative 0.5 level, your 0.5, your 1, your 1.25, your 1.5 level. And then you got to adjust your levels to percentages rather than values. And then you got yourself this tool here. And you can change the colors to whatever you want. I usually try to match it with psychology, but okay. I'm zooming back in. What you should be preparing for is potential longs, preferably at these lows if we get down that low. Right now we're at the point of control where we can anticipate a potential reversal and maybe finally escape this value area. But down here, it's a good spot to prepare for a front run of a potential break of this downtrending momentum. So at like 0.07, they have 7 cents. Around here is where you want to anticipate potential area for buyers to start stepping in. We have a wick level down here where you might get an SFP if we sweep that first, which sweeps like this are usually a good conduit for strong reversals. We grab that liquidity and then allows market makers to jump in with the lowest amount of impact, and then retail starts to get influence to come in following afterwards. So yeah, look for that double bottom kind of posture like we saw here, like we saw here, like we saw here. But that is plum. I never did TA on this. I hope this helps you guys out. Let's save. Oh, I guess we don't really have a chart for it, but next asset request. Let's see, going up this list here. Dot and then gold. Okay. So I know I have a dot chart. I need to make a gold chart, especially now that it's been tokenized. All right, we just slapped the VWAP and the downtrending momentum. Basically hitting that the local SFP in the 5-minute. So if you're not out of that SFP, I'd be careful staying in it. Okay, dot. Do I know we have a dot chart? So I'll pull that up. It's been a while since we looked at dot though. September 17th. Dot has been a bit of a bummer. If you zoom out on dot, oh man, look at that. 63 cents. It's a low from the flash crash. This is what I mean by it being a bit of a bummer. Normally, if you look at this range that dot has been in for over 1,000 days. Yeah, 1,200 days. We've been ping-ponging between 373 area to around $11, $7 to $11 here. From value area low to value area high, value area low to value area high. We get to this value area low. And every time we break momentum, we have an aggressive move up to the value area. This time around, we started that way. It started that way. And then we hit the value area high of this previous range, this supply zone, and then we halted from there. And then we broke momentum again. Strong run, same range. Hit our head off the point of control this time though, and came down. Broke momentum. Like this range has been kicking dot's butt. So be super cautious when we start coming up to around like the $4.50 level. That's normally when we start to see some turbulence. It does give me some like same kind of 5 says it's a plum asset that we're looking at, right? So we had this aggressive move down, kind of built a base of structure. Now everything's kind of internal because of that crazy wick. Like you'll never see it never expect it to sweep that wick before coming up to kind of fix market structure a bit for you. So everything's going to be kind of internal until it breaks the high again. And we got to break above this high here. Now, last time we looked at dot, looks like we're preparing for shorts or maybe a long to the local demand supply zone. Let's delete this noise. Kind of got that double bottom posture on the daily. Let's zoom in. We can pull a fixed range volume profile from the start of this consolidation to help guide us in preparation for potential shorts. And right now we're at the value area high where you normally want to prepare for potential shorts. If we get the higher high, the break of structure, then that kind of invalidates that. We do have this wick level here. We have a wick level here. You can mark both these key levels to prepare for SFPs. Make sure you get your magnet tool out so it clings right to the price action. We delete that. That's not needed anymore. Mark your lows too. And you set your alarms just prior to them. But yeah, what I would want to see to make this more picture perfect to the clairvoyant strategy, at least on the 4-hour time frame, if we came up, swept this high, that broke the low, I would definitely be looking for a move back down to here in the 4-hour. Let's take a look at the 15-minute. Okay, so we have like this little demand zone here. The confluence of the point of control and the uptrending momentum that's kind of holding it up. Now we close below this low here. It's kind of game over and we can start seeing it rotate down further. I'd watch $3 too. Key level for longs right now is here. Or continuations. At least if you're already an existing long, then you definitely want this level to break. Give you that change of character. I think you start seeing it rotate back up to these highs. It's kind of going to make it or break it moment right now. Yep. Okay, so that's the macro vision that we were talking about in the 4-hour, and we got the internal 15-minute. This is a kind of like the only real setup that I've got for you. Just watch for the sweep of these highs too. So wick on the higher time frames. Okay, that's dot. I'm curious about gold. Well, we don't have a gold chart yet, but I have done TA on it with this layout. It's kind of been rolling over. Let's zoom out. A 4-hour. All right, we came back into this valley area here. We had this demand zone drawn. Went right through it. With the 50-day EMA kind of creeping up. Now, that 50-day EMA is based on, not sure how well it is alongside the actual gold. I have to do comparison. Like a tokenized version versus like, you know, the Onda version on the stock market. We lost momentum, like finally, after hitting the technical target for this pennant, right? When we were last looking at this pennant, we were suggesting where it would go from the last area was consolidating, and we went beyond that. We saw some turbulence at the target, but realistically, yeah, we just came and continued up further. way beyond it. It was suggesting move to 4,000, and now we're kind of double topping here at 4,400. And the 4,000's like a new. We just claimed a new high, right? Like a new psychological level. So we're gonna see some people take some profits, but there's still people lining up, man, to buy this stuff physically in person. And even my barber is like asked me questions about finance now. It's always at these new all-time highs where you start getting questions about. Makes me feel like we peaked when you start getting questions from like random people that not normally interested in investing. But yeah, I'm anticipating for us to still consolidate here for gold. And the longer we consolidate, the healthier, right? So if we find support at this Valley area low, which we're at right now, or at least at the 50-day EMA, maybe dip down there a little bit, I'm going to prepare for us to consolidate between, $4,000 and the new all-time high. We got hiccups. Get the downtrending momentum drawn here. It really, that's weekend price action, right? Yeah. Now, if you could find an exchange that doesn't have fees, there's an opportunity here on weekends for tight range trading on gold. But with fees, you're not going to be able to get away with that and make money. So yeah, you want to look for a bullish change of character. We're at a key level now, right? So we're going to look for that bullish change of character, break of momentum, maybe rotate to the value area high again at 4,050, hitting that 15-minute order block and grabbing liquidity from these highs. So this is where a good spot to anticipate for us to start that range-bound price action. It's just a matter of it painting the picture, man. We're really close. You want to have another 2-candle consecutive pullback, generate a neckline, and then take the low and break that neckline. Going back to Bitcoin, still slow, man, super slow. I find Mondays lately have been slow, and Tuesdays it really picks up. How about XRP? Oh, we can definitely do XRP. All right, so we looked at Bitcoin, went through DOT, gold, Zcash, hype. We went through Plum, whatever that was. Let's go through, we got ENA request and Bitcoin Cash request. And we'll look at Esther and XRP. All right, so Bitcoin Cash. How is it doing? Just skyrocketing. I got like a different colored theme. At one point in my trading career, I changed all my backgrounds, my gradient backgrounds, to look like the same branding of the asset, so people would immediately know which asset I'm doing TA on. It looks like I still have my Bitcoin Cash like that. It's been a while since we looked at it, I think. Look at that mess. Blah. Okay. This zone here is just a strong area of interest for investors. So whenever we get to like 295 to like 200, you're usually getting it at a good price. Anything below that, it's even better. Let's delete some of this noise. This is like preparing for the top in 2021. Is this chart even set? Okay, it's logarithmic. This trend line looked like it was drawn when it was not logarithmic. And make sure you have your chart set to logarithmic. This little L button on the right, and not auto fit. Logarithmic, what it does is it syncs your the price action based on its percentage bound move, whereas auto kind of like crunches the price action a bit. So your trend lines lie to you, especially your ascending and descending ones. Your horizontal ones will be fine, but all the other ones will be broken. They'll be lying to you. So we tested the previous value low, local demand zone, and we're coming back up. It looks like we have relative strength right now for Bitcoin Cash here on the daily. Just broke that internal high. If we pull a fib from this high to this low and adjust it properly, we just tap the golden pocket now. I just make sure I fit that properly because I don't have my magnet on. Yeah, we just tapped it now. We're building a doji on. We got 8 hours left. Doji's like, think of it as like an indecision candle, but a more healthy way of looking at it, it's more like rather than indecision, think of it like a decision that's about to be made. Because if you zoom in on it, it'll always be an incomplete confirmation. Always, always, always. It'll always be an incomplete confirmation. So we need to break this low. And we have we have next to nothing in volume here. Yeah, we break this low, we'd have acceptance back into this previous value area. I'll draw the value area profile here. We lost it right here. Again, you can visualize this stuff. You see we came up, hit it as resistance, lower low. That's a trend bound rule telling you that we're going to be leaving this value area and likely going to a new one or creating a new one. So we want to watch these previous value area high. If we break that low, that's likely where we're going to go. The technical target, if we break like a change of character internally, would be the low itself. But breaking that would give us a higher time frame change of character that could drive us back down to retest these highs. Acceptance into this value area would give you a target extension to the value area low, where we can start to see where demand starts to come back again. We had a really fast-paced move back up through here, so we can have a fast-paced move right back down. We just mark this here. Mark the previous point of control. And mark this previous value area low. So 536 will be your first key area of interest if this low breaks. If we look internally, oh, this wick here. Need a full body close below that before expecting a rotation down from here to here. Think of this trend line here that I'm drawing like a liquidity line. And we break this low, we'll likely come down and start taking it. A good potential front run opportunity to a break of this low. We get a sweep of this high. Or internal like 3-minute structure. There we go. See, Bitcoin Cash has some macro confluence of rejection and some low time frame posture for rejection too. So just be aware of that. The technical target of this break is here, but a break at this level can bring you down to that value area. Acceptance to that value area can give you target extensions down lower. Bitcoin dominance looks like it's breaking down. Let's bring that up actually. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Lower highs, failure to create a higher high. The 15-minute time frame. Rounded top kind of posture. If we come down here, we have an Adam and Eve. Here's Adam. and Eve. These are bearish. It's incomplete. But yeah, if we come down here and then we confirm the break of this low and lose the 50-day EMA, the momentum-based target, it's quite simple to find. It suggests for us to come down to 58.73, but I think that could start a domino effect and bring us down lower. Yeah, the last level that we were watching for a key level for a move up was this one, right? We wanted to break above this to prepare for Bitcoin dominance to start being more bullish. We had that, wild bullish event. This is kind of like the flash crash event here, where like Bitcoin kind of outperformed everything during its drop, obviously, right? So that makes a lot of sense. We're still squeezed between the 200-day and the 50-day. But if we visualize this like liquidity, yeah, we could come all the way down this low. So I'm going to change this. This is no longer helpful for us anymore to prepare for a bullish event, but we can prepare for a more bearish event here where alts would really start to get strong against Bitcoin if we broke this low. Like confirming that Adam and Eve posture. But yeah, right now we have the threat of that kind of like order block vibes here. Now when it comes to like dominance, I don't take order blocks too seriously. Like I look at the structure more than anything, like the market structure. And I know order blocks are a part of that. But I don't take them nearly as seriously as I would with an actual asset. Well, you'll see them sometimes validate as support. Yeah, we could come down here to 59.51. If we break below that, then I'll be preparing for that 50-day EMA break, an Adam and Eve confirmation, and then for dominance start to get weaker on Bitcoin and alts start to thrive a little bit. We're already kind of seeing that with some alts. Like Zcash, for example, has some relative strength right now. Bitcoin Cash has some relative strength right now. Wave Cypher, how you doing, man? If you guys want to check out another guy who does great TA, Wave Cyphers, good guy to check out. E&A for JDAMs. Let's take a peek at that. We're losing that VWAP on dominance. So alts might look a little stronger against Bitcoin right now. And it's likely because Bitcoin's being boring. If you guys notice, like if Bitcoin's like being choppy and boring and slow, usually alts are starting to thrive during that kind of moment. All the attention starts to shift towards stuff that's a little bit more tradable. And then dominance starts to go down on Bitcoin as a result. So we got Esther as a request and ENA. So let's take a peek at ENA first. I think that was asked first. I don't know if I have an ENA chart. I do not. Okay. Pull it up on Binance. We're preparing for a rejection here. Last time we spoke about ENA, it looks. And we got it. Let's delete this. Still a key area of interest here, but we have to get down there first. Broad momentum. Now let's do it more internal. Here to here. Got demand zone here and here. Previous highs. We got 2-tap momentum, 3-tap momentum here. Just be aware that trend lines are only usually honored if you see those orders, wait for them in the order books. We had the 50-day and the 200 just getting really close to each other. right? When we hit that high and got the bearish change of character occurrence here and lost the V, there's so much confluence there. I wish I saw this on the chart at the time. Like looking at this, like a 200-day rejection, 200-day EMA, previous value area high, double top, change of character, break of VWAP, like that screams short so much. If I saw that in the chart at the time, that was like around 5 a.m.-ish. I would have taken that for sure, man. Congrats if you did. We are at like the local, like we had our previous point of control and local demand right now. And we just mitigated like a 15 or 30-minute order block right here. So this is like an area where you can anticipate for support, but this is the next area right here. If you don't find it here, we just flip. We're about to flip bullish if we close above this wick. And then we'll have a new strong low internally. If we close here, this is your invalidation point. You could, if it closes and pull back, then you can use fibs from this low to that high. And try to jump in on the golden pocket. There's the equilibrium point. Confluence 2 at the POC. But this is all like hypothetical. We have to close above here first. Then look at like the 3-minute posture. Wait for a bearish change of character on the 3-minute, and then pull from the low to the high. And then you have your fib levels that you can use to try to jump in, and then use this low as your stop loss. So if I were to mark it up, so it's a little more easy to see. This was the high that we need to take. I just want to I'm saying was because I'm not sure if this sweep. Oh, it didn't sweep it. Okay. If this was swept, by the way, if this was swept and it created a higher high here, and we pulled back and then we hit like an SFP target, your new key level would change from here to that point. Like you would need a candle close above that in order for it to flip bullish. This is the internal momentum here. So I'll be looking for us to hit our head off the supply right here. We have a supply zone right here too, by the way. Look for that 3-minute opposing change of character, and then start pulling your fib from the low to that high. You can see like the golden pocket, depending on where that high is created, is pretty close to that previous point of control for long confluence. And you can target the VWAP supply concern here. All right, we broke through it. Flip bullish on the 3-minute, 15-minute, closes in 5 minutes. All right, we can get to the high side of the supply zone. And I would prepare for that rejection, then the pull, then do your pull from the low to the high when you get the opposing change of character. But we flip bullish, so like on the 15-minute, when this candle closes, some people enter just off of that, but you could normally give yourself a better entry point between the invalidation point and the confirmation, right? So this is the confirmation level, this is the invalidation point. So you can make your R&R much better trying to get in between that confirmation and the entry. Giving yourself like an ascending double bottom reaction. Okay, so that's E and A. I hope that helps you out, guys. Where Esther was next. We have an Esther chart. I just started buying this thing. Esther is at this previous value low. right here. You can see that when they came up, got this uptrending momentum after getting acceptance into the value area. We got proper acceptance during this moment. Right. Man, look at all these SFPs. I guess right here. What you need to have is like a break in, pull back, higher high. We got break in, pull back, SFP, break in, pull back, SFP. Like, just didn't really want to confirm until way later. But when we got that acceptance, then you start to anticipate to behave the same way it did the last time it was in the value area. Like it did here when we rejected her off of the value area high. Lost this uptrending momentum, bearish change of character. Then you target the value area low, being mindful of the point of control. You learn this strategy in the course. It's called the clairvoyant strategy, where you use value areas to dictate targets and entry points. And the final rule of every strategy is just making sure that you have the risk to reward ratio. So now we have this downtrending momentum here, kind of building that ascending double bottom off this demand zone. And we mitigated the whole thing when we wicked down here. Right now we're coming up towards like a 15-minute order block and the VWAP confluence, so we could come up here and hit our head and then start to generate downtrending momentum here. I can just mark this up now. We have a supply zone. What do you be worried about here? And a 15-minute order block. We haven't really flipped bullish on this. I don't think we can until we break this high, actually. Because that wild wick. Now, if we took this this low here, then we just generate this as our strong high. But right now it's way up here because we didn't have a proper pullback during this time. At least on the 15-minute time frame. So this is all basically internal. But yeah, we can prepare for longs. We have the confluence of the value area low. We have like an ascending double bottom being built. Like I normally would recommend to wait for like a change of character because but like I said, everything's kind of internal. So unless we sweep this low, we could use this as a potential key area, but I'm not very confident in it. What we could see price action do is break this, mitigate the supply, pull back, retest higher high, and jumping on the higher high maybe be a little bit safer unless you find a front run opportunity down here, and then target the value area high up here, and hopes for a continuation. Because we do have that inverse head and shoulders kind of posture, so we break this and start to come up. We can get that incomplete picture for a potential run up. If we look at the technical target for the macro vision that we're building right now, like we're starting to bottom out finally on Esther after breaking a falling wedge, and the technical target for the falling wedge is way up here at $2. So this is kind of like, I know it doesn't feel like it, but this is kind of like the front run potential opportunity to bring yourself up to those highs again, while being obviously mindful of the supply zones along the way that can induce a reversal. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. The bullish front run around here to a break of this neckline for this potential inverse head and shoulders for continuation up. And if Bitcoin dominance does continue to go down, then it does fit well with what Esther's trying to do right now. Okay, I hope that helps you out. Going back to Bitcoin actually getting back above that VWAP. See how it does. If we do kind of run up here, then we have an SFP opportunity here at 116,373. I'm going to set an alarm for that, actually. I like to set my alarms right at the bodies, like right before the sweep. I'll give you guys the signal in the Discord if we get this. There we go. So I set my alarm for a crossing alarm, so the moment that it touches this area, I'll get notified so I can prepare for the shorts and give you guys the signal when it's safe. Great accent. Every time he says R&R, he yells it in a pirate voice. It's funny. Can't stress how much my wife knows about trading crypto from overhearing 5 months of Kyle's calls. That's funny. I know nobody trades this, but I have a big bag of RON token. If you have spare time, could you do it? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we'll look at Solana for July, and we'll look at RON for Victor. We got Teo request from EdCamp too. Okay, so Teo is the first request. We'll look at that, and I think I have a Teo chart. I've gotta. Yeah, I do. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. Yeah, last time we were looking at Teo, we were preparing for like a bounce off this demand zone and a rejection off of this point of control. It looks like it bounced a little bit, but we fell down below it, of course. Came to a previous value area low. Bounced off that. Broke the downtrending momentum, then hit our point control area of interest for shorts. With a lower high double top. Well, what we can do is we can just fix this chart up a bit. It's really messy. And we're dancing off a previous value high and stuff. We don't need that data anymore. Got overlapping data. No, we need to keep this value area data though. If we zoom out on Teo, see how it's like struggling against this previous macro point of control. This was an area of interest for 140 days. So this is an important level to watch. Every time we get to this value, this previous point of control, we've hit our head off of it consistently over and over and over again. And we could come up to try again. But once we finally break past this, guys, and we retest, get the higher high off that point of control, then you can start targeting around $595, where the value area high is. There's got to be a lot of liquidity stacked up here. I could see with this wick here, we took some of it, but there's got to be a decent amount stacked up here. And we could find that out right now if you'd like. So what you would want to do to find that out, you get your measurement tool, you click from the left, and you drag to the current time to find out how much time has passed. It's been 401 days. If you're just interested in learning like how much liquidity is stacked here, then we can just click and drag. We have 283 days. So then we go to like the liquidation heat map. We check to see if Teo is on the list. I'm pretty sure it is. It is, okay. And then we got to find a wraparound time. So probably a yearly. Oh, it only allows us to go as far as 3 months. That's rough. So we got 90-day look back. Yeah, it's not really giving it to us. So if we look at the 24-hour, at least we can see the local liquidity. Quite a bit of liquidity at $424, $424.28. So 424.28. And we're coming up to it now. When you have high liquidity right above a previous wick, usually gives you really good SFPs. And if we get that SFP sweep, then the target on the 4 hours here The hourly target is the same. So we're just lacking that sweep for an SFP short. So you just need the candle to sweep above the high, close below this wick, and then you got yourself an SFP. And you'll be targeting here. I want to pull a fixed range volume profile from here to here. So this is the local one, combating against the macro one that we were talking about, from here to that high. Significantly strong area here. It looks like price is getting compressed into an apex point. Get our triangle. It's kind of a neutral structure. Usually when you have a squeeze like this is a really good time to look at the liquidation heat map, because that's usually what dictates the direction of the break for this kind of posture when you have these kind of squeezes. We tend to go the same direction as the trend, which right now is up. So I'm hopeful that, if we get this SFP, that we just come down and return to this uptrending momentum, bounce, and finally get that break past that point of control. There you go. You guys have access to this chart too. Just type !charts in the Discord, and you'll be able to pull this one up if you want to use it to help you with your TA. All right, that's Teo. Hi from NC. What's up, man? Daryl, what's up? Okay, and Ron. Have we not done XRP yet? I thought we did XRP. Yeah, it says we did it today. Well, maybe we haven't. The last time we were talking about XRP was for this neckline break. We really wanted to have that break past the point of control and then target at least the value area high. But now we are combating previous lows. So here, for this valley area, we have confluence for rejection here because of that, unfortunately. When we come up and test previous lows of a valley area or a range, they normally act as resistance the first time around. But think of it like chipping away at armor. The more we test it, the more likely we're going to break through it. And we're at the valley area high of this valley area that we kind of just broke right into and got a not proper acceptance because of this stupid wick, but I would see this as body acceptance, and that kind of warns you of a rotation to the valley area low, which we haven't had yet. We built this kind of like descending inverse head and shoulders. We broke this down, trending momentum. We got that break of resistance here that we're talking about on Wednesday, I believe. What day was that marked? Wednesday or Friday. But yeah, we broke the downtrend momentum. Lots of confluence for along here. But yeah, we were definitely planning our exit plan around the valley area highs here. But now we're trying to use that previous valley area high as support right here to rotate back into this valley area. But this valley area is likely going to act as resistance the first time around. So we are seeing some kind of relative strength against Bitcoin, because Bitcoin and its structure, we built this kind of like head and shoulders posture, and it's trying to fight its way back up, but XRP is already above where the head of the head and shoulders would be. So we're kind of building this ascending regression trend right here, which these do typically break to the downside as well, because we sweep liquidity from the highs and keep stacking on the lows. Other than this one period here where we kind of got that SFP sweep, which helped us drive us up towards this target to begin with. So we hit this technical target of this SFP already. And now we are about to create a new SFP potentially on the hourly, sweeping this high. All we need to do is close below this wick. And we're already below it, so we just need to wait for that close. And about 34 minutes for the hourly. The 15-minute is a little sketch. Let's see what we have. Yeah, 15-minute. That's too close for me to even consider. So I'll be sitting on my hands, recommending everyone to wait. Maybe the 30-minute. Yeah, 30-minute looks healthy. So after that confirms, we'd have the technical target for XRP to fall down to these lows here, where we had the most recent pullback. If we go right to the technical target, let's get the short position tool out. Your stop loss would be at above the wick. Your target would be this wick here. You would increase your win rate by 12% if you focused on the body as your target, so long as the R&R is there. I just gotta wait for that to confirm. If Bitcoin starts to fall down, then XRP should be carried along with it. And we maintain this ascending regression trend. If we break this low, these lows, after the SFP, then you front run a potential move down to this demand zone here. Which is the previous value high as well, and these previous highs. That confirms in 2 minutes. I might take that. What's the 3-minute look like? The only thing I don't like about the 3-minute is the demand zone right in our face. I think I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. Let's get my... Gotta make sure I'm logged into Blowfin. I got 2 minutes. What's Bitcoin's posture? That's... Oh, I don't like the posture of Bitcoin though. So maybe after the confirmation, I'll try to jump in between the invalidation point and the confirmation. So the invalidation point's the wick, right? So after it confirms, you can try to get in between here and it still be a proper SFP trade, right? If you want to wait for structural confluence from Bitcoin. Bitcoin dictates the market a lot. All right, I'm almost logged in. Just gotta do my Google Authenticator. All that fun stuff. Where is... There it is. I have like 5,000 Google Authenticators from all the exchanges that I've used in the past. Okay, make sure I switch over to XRP. Now, if you struggle with your risk management, this is a good time to learn. Futures, USDT. Here, I'll pull up the exchange here. All right, so this is XRP's chart. And how you kind of want to manage your risk on this is you get your stop loss ready, your wick level ready, copy your price. You just do that by right-clicking, copy price, click on TPSL if you're on Blowfin, click on advanced with the percentage icon here, and then when you make sure you switch to short, paste the price where you want to put your stop loss, and you click and you drag until you meet your budget, right? So for me, I want to risk to lose 100 because I'm trading right now with like a $15,000 account. I want to risk to lose $100 of it. So like 10x leverage. And there we go. So it's about, I got 2,000 in the futures account. So I got about $100 is what I want to risk to lose. And you just tap on short. You have your target is here. I'm going to target the body lows. And you want to make sure that what you're risking to lose is outweighed by at least 2x what you're trying to gain. So we're trying to gain $286 right now based on the active price point, and we're trying to risk to lose about $100. Go back to this chart. So we have it pumping up against just before we jump in. I'm curious to see how Bitcoin responds to these highs. We have bearish confluence of us like hitting our head off these levels. Then XRP, as it kind of comes up here, should start chug along down with it. So we confirmed already that we're going based on the SFP target. We've already confirmed it. So what we have, because we're doing this on the 30-minute time frame, we have lots of time to think and prepare for maybe a better entry within that confirmation and the invalidation. So we can use something like the 3-minute posture to help dictate our entry. Maybe we see something that tells us we could come up a little bit more first, like this, the little demand zone. Or maybe Bitcoin could sweep this high first. Yeah, Bitcoin's going up a little bit. XRP has a lot of Bitcoin pairing liquidity, so it will go up usually with it on low time frames. So make sure you're patient. See what Bitcoin's doing first. It can save you from bad trades. Or give you better R&R. Let's pull up Bitcoin's doing that. We've been here for what? 18 hours. So I'm just going over the pair. Just pulling up Bitcoin's liquidation heat map for the past 24 hours. 16.4. That's really tight, man. These guys are trading on like 100x. Decent, yeah, more weighted liquidity below us. That's good confluence. Let's see if we hit our head here. We're getting better and better R&R right now from this pullback. Hey, might give myself a deviation. Where's the E? Yeah, you give yourself more breathing room in situations like this. Okay. Yeah, we can grab the liquidity from these highs, hit the golden pocket into the supply. And then we can take the SFP trade on XRP. You can take it now, technically. It's all been confirmed, right? Just a matter of if you want to try to capture more R&R. Or if you're worried about Bitcoin influencing a loss in the trade. You guys got real quiet. Let's see. You got 3.5 to 1 to 3.5. Nice. Everyone says that backwards. I don't know what started that, but back in like 2020, it was always like your risk number, your reward number, risk to reward. Now everyone's saying they're the reward to risk. Some of the OGs might have noticed that, but the past few years it's always been opposite. I'm just joking, man. You don't have to correct yourself. Okay, here coming up. We're getting a 1 to 4.48 here. Risk to lose $100 to try to gain 488 roughly. Let's go back to my Blowfin login here. Well, not in this exchange. Yeah, the technical target's only giving me like 300. I think we're definitely going to have to wait for Bitcoin to confirm a reversal. It's really helpful to split your chart to situations like this. Oh, it's my old Bitcoin chart. Man, that's crazy. Fixed range volume pro. Yeah, I got a visible range here. That's funny. All right, bro. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be preparing to short XRP today. It's a big moment right now. Let's see if we can get the... Here, we're close. Yeah, Bitcoin relative to XRP. XRP is really close to sweeping this high. If we sweep this high and get another SFP, then the technical target for the 3-minute would be here, and that could start a domino effect for the 30. As long as it's swept in the 30 and not closed. Which wouldn't happen. We have 20 minutes on that. That's where the patience part of trading comes in. Yeah, unless this sweeps, we have an invalidation of that SFP. Let's get the I think we got a higher high on that. Yeah, the high is 2.687. Here is 2.684. Oh, 2.68. There we go. 74. All right, we're sweeping the high. So this has to close below here now. Bitcoin's dragging it up. 28 seconds. Anything can happen. We could just teleport down here or not. Bitcoin could start, because we're just tapping these highs now for Bitcoin. It's that confluence. Maybe we'll see it start to roll over. Look how close that was. Fuck. All right, that 30-minute SFP has technically been invalidated. If patience pays, or saves you money, I guess, in this case. Yeah, we could step ladder, which basically means like you could have a sweep of this sweep and then use that new wick as your stop loss guard. But yeah, Bitcoin just saved me from a bad trade. You always want to have, you normally want to have Bitcoin like agreeing with your setup with your alt trade. I know that sounds like tedious, but I promise you it would save you from losses. Like that could have been a loss for me. All right, let's take a look at other assets. We got Solana request. Let's pull that up. Sol. I took a peek at this today too, I believe. Yeah, double top here. At a previous value area high. Screaming we're going down. It didn't go down very far. We kind of tested these previous highs here. Try to hold them as support. Broke the internal resistance. We're coming up. Looks like we're coming up at like golden pocket. Retest of these lows. Good confluence for rejection at the value area high. So yeah, 3 forms of confluence. Let's see, zoom out on this thing. Yeah, Solana broke the downtrend momentum that's been holding it down since $236. We broke this double bottom neckline, but now we're at this value area high where we anticipate resistance. And if we confirm a reversal, I'll be looking for like 191 for potential longs. We have a 6-hour order block there. We have some low time frame interest here too off these previous highs. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we're likely going to be due for a downtrend here. And it could rotate all the way down to the value area low. You see we internally on the 15-minute, we lost that momentum after we hit that bearish change character. And Bitcoin right now is kind of like positioned for a rejection soon. So that kind of pairing confluence should drive it at least down to here at this previous point of control and its local demand. If we have continuations after breaking past this demand zone here and past the point of control, then the value area low is an area we want to pair for potential longs at 191.92. So that's Solana. I'm going to crest a look at Ron. We don't know what that is. Let's check out on OKX. Oh, looks like it has poor liquidity. zoom out on the daily. Some price discovery. Oh, no, not quite. It's been around since 2022. Okay. Downtrending momentum. Previous demand zone. Previous valley area here. That's an awkward valley area. Let me just isolate it from here. Yeah, if this thing gets a reversal, that's a key level here you want to have broken. We do have like an internal level right here that could bring you up to this neckline. And if this breaks, it can carry over to the valley area where it's likely going to act as resistance the first time around. We have this downtrending momentum internally. Just zoom in on this. Looks like there's a sell wall here. So as we approach this area, check 39.18 for a potential sell wall in the order books. Got an order block on the hourly here. At 41 cents is the floor. We mitigate this supply, creating this neckline. Got a little bit of supply concern here. But yeah, if we break this neckline, continue up, this is an area we want to watch out for turbulence. But if we break above this, have active support, then we have an ascending double bottom on the macro with double bottom fractalization. All right. So just prepare for this key level to break. This is not something I'd trade just because I've got a feeling that you deal with a lot of slippage trying to enter on something like this. But I don't know anything about it itself. I can't tell you if it's a good or a bad asset. But based on the price action, yeah, it definitely needs to recover. We got to break above this neckline to get acceptance back inside this valley area so we can start potentially seeing a rotation back up for this thing. It's been a downtrend for since March. Yeah, 586 days. And this could be the spark to start bringing it back up to this valley area. Then maybe we'll get a return back up to this momentum. But yeah, low time frames. If you're already in an existing position, yeah, you want to have this level break so you can continuation to here. But this is an area where you got to be careful. You might start to get a reversal back and start inducing a range in the zone. What's up, Blake? How you doing, man? That's Mir. Can you look at Ethereum CRO? Yeah, let's take a peek at it. I do got to head out in like 10 minutes, guys. Let's take a peek at Ethereum. Ethereum is great for liquidity, the opposite of what we just saw. So yeah, we swept these highs. Didn't really get an SFP on the hourly. Could be getting one. Yeah, we got one on the 4 hour. The 4 hour technical target for the SFP is pretty darn steep. Way down here at 3,937. Same kind of scenario as what we saw with XRP. Kind of want to analyze Bitcoin and see if we could actually confirm a move like that. But I'll be looking at this as a potential barrier at 4,043, where this previous valley high is. We kind of broke out, retested, and got the higher high on like a lower time frame, proper retest. And this is the wick on the 4 hour, or bodies on the hourly. So you kind of want to look for like a bearish change of character on the low time frames to start targeting the neckline right here in hopes that it breaks for a continuation. But yeah, we're in a spot where you typically would prepare for potential shorts. But you definitely need to see that bearish change of character first, and then start targeting these lows. And then maybe it'll evolve over time towards the 4 hour SFP target. If not, this is a great demand zone right here. We prepare for bullish reactions. You look for the reaction, then you take action. That's Ethereum. Hope that helps you out, man. Okay. NASDAQ. That's a broad term. Do you mean like the S&P 500? We have a request for CRO. We don't have a CRO chart. All right, Bitcoin's at that gold pocket right now. From the high to the low pull here. You pull from the highs to lows when you flip bearish, and we flip bearish here. We're starting to flip bullish again here though. Let's see how this reacts. If we get the SFP, then we stay bearish. If we get the body close, we flip back to being bullish. Structurally. We could get the SFP from this high too, which would be a pretty exciting trade. That's 100. I might not have time, man. I got one more request and I gotta head out. CRO. That thing's been a beast. The volume just keeps going wild on this thing in a macro sense. So if you zoom out, I always like to zoom out on this thing to show you guys the bigger picture. It's been a massive broadening wedge. Low confidence, building confidence. That's basically what the story tells with the broadening wedge. You get a lot more trade participants kind of coming in. And right now we're at we've mitigated like a demand zone. We lost the 200-day EMA. And we could be trying to reclaim it now as we speak. We had this daily order block here that was mitigated from that flash crash, but we came down and built a body support off of it. And right now we're fighting that 200-day EMA alongside with a low time frame supply concern. So that confluence could drive us back down to the value area low. And normally when we have price action squeeze against momentum like this, we break to the downside. But this time around, we broke through it, and now we're still consolidating above this value area high. So we delete this noise now. We'll keep our alarms down here in case we come down there for an SFP. Well, yeah, we lost that momentum. We need to break this low, get the double top confirmation, target the value area low. Watch out for the point of control. There's an order block confluence there as well on the hourly. So the key level that we need to see have broken is this one here. So we get a body candle close below this. Start targeting down here. If you get a front run opportunity between this break and this high, then awesome. We might be building a head and shoulders posture. And we're pulling back now to test the VWAP. And we just hit our head off the supply with confluence of the 200-day EMA. We're just waiting for that break. Maybe this pullback can give us a good stop loss guard alongside with the VWAP. And we can start targeting these lows if that confirms. If we range bound here instead, it'll slowly decrease our chances of that occurring because it creates resets in the oscillators and in the market. Go back to Bitcoin. Alrighty. Well, guys, I gotta head out. It was fun doing TA with you. We went through a lot of assets. Went through Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, DOT, Bitcoin Cash, Esther, Teo. The list goes on. Been here the whole time, Blake. Just at work on your Bluetooth. Can't watch live, but I'm listening. Cool. Thanks, man. All right, cool, guys. You have a great day. Reach out to me in the Discord if you need help with anything, any questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. If you're new to the community, make sure you take the course. I promise you it would help you a lot with your profitability. And if there's any missing gaps that you might be missing after the course, let me know. I'll answer the questions, and it helps me understand what the course might be lacking so I can add it to the course too. That course is never going to stop being developed. It's going to constantly improve over time. All right, guys. You have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the people that are subscribing. We hit our 7,000 subscriber target. I think our next target should be 8,000. And we get closer and closer, inch our way to 10,000. I appreciate the Otter Gang who's been subscribing too. I've noticed that a lot of you guys have been jumping on, subscribing and watching. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.